Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to another edition of the Jazz Albums Review Series. And today I'm going to be taking a look at an album that came out in 2022. And this one is very different to all of the albums that I've talked about on this series. And it's a duo project, and I've listened to a number of different duo albums over the years in various settings and configurations, such as guitar and bass, piano and bass, guitar and drums, guitar and sax, bass and drums. But this setting really took me by surprise, and it's something that I don't think I've ever seen or heard been done before, and that's electric cello and drums. Not something you really come across every day. Now, this sort of configuration you would probably find on an avant garde label or something on ECM records or something on the lines of that. It's very different to what I'm used to hearing. And after listening to this album a number of times already, it is very spontaneous, very loose, and more heavy on the improv side of things, and at times leaning towards the avant garde style of music. The drums is not what you would call hard hitting, it's got more of a percussive approach. So, even though it's a drum kit, there's definitely more of a percussion feel to it rather than just playing beat after beat after beat or cymbal crashing after cymbal crashing. The electric cello at times sounds like an upright bass. What's the best way I can describe this album? Imagine if Eberhard teamed up with Marilyn Mazur. Now, obviously, those two names are very synonymous with ECM. They've been long-time collaborators for Younger Barak. So imagine hearing something like that, or imagine Dave Holland teaming up with Zakir Hussain, percussion and acoustic bass. Or imagine if David Darling teamed up with Jack DeJohnette. Imagine something like that. It's definitely got a much more looser style of playing to what I'm used to hearing. And the album I'm talking about features two very highly respected and decorated musicians, two guys who need no introduction whatsoever. I am talking about, of course, the one and only electric cellist Max Oliver and drummer Ollie Usiskin, and this is their duo project, Usiskin and Oliver Duo. Now, as I mentioned already, this album is very different to what I've heard before. Ollie Usiskin is a highly respected drummer. He's played with DB Infusion, Trio Zone, John Etheridge, to name a few. Max Oliver, not a musician I know too much about. I know he's a long established veteran with a classical background, and he's been around for a really long time. So when these two got together to record a duo project, as I mentioned, you know, I didn't really know what to expect. It's an acquired taste. I'm sure there's some people out there who would find this music very out there, but I've listened to this a number of times already. It's very unique, it's very interesting, and it's definitely got a chamber feel, leaning more towards the sounding of ECM records. This album definitely would have fit in very well on ECM, I think. ECM have always been known for doing very crazy and outlandish things and coming up with these unusual concepts. And this concept, electric cello and drums, is very interesting, I would say. So As I mentioned, this album came out in 2022 and it was produced by Jimmy Haslip. And there's a little quotes here by legendary drummer Peter Erskine. And it's a very good album. And this is their only album that Oliver and Usiskin have done together as a duo. And it's more of a jazz improv sort of thing. So it's a lot more looser. There's plenty of space for improvisation, and yeah, it's certainly different, but a very enjoyable listen, depending on what kind of person you are, I would say. So let's have a look. So there is drums and electric cello, and we've got the credits here as well. So all of the pieces are written and composed by Max Oliver and Ollie Usiskin, mixed by Ollie Usiskin, and as I said, the executive producer for this album is, of course, the legendary Jimmy Haslip. And this project came together at the suggestion of Ollie Usiskin, who came up with the idea of forming this duo. And yeah, it really paid off. And as I said, it's very interesting and certainly very different to what I'm used to hearing. So, tracks we've got here are Changes of Direction, The Reaction of Two, Stretch, Leading Up to, Stormburst, Build Up, Disagree to Agree, Swing Push, and Irritation. So, most of the tracks on here are fairly short ish pieces, and there are four long tracks on this album. So, Changes of Direction is like 11 minutes and 47 seconds. Leading Up to is 12 minutes and 29 seconds. Build Up is 11 minutes and 54 seconds. And Disagree to Agree is like 12 minutes and 35 seconds. And other tracks like Swing Push is like 46 seconds. Irritation is like 1 minute and 57 seconds. And Stretch is 1 minute and 44 seconds. And Stormburst is like 1 minute and 29 seconds, and Reaction of Two is like 3 minutes and 13 seconds. So, as I said already, four tracks here are quite shortish, and Reaction of Two, as I said, is like 3 minutes and 13 seconds. So, it's kind of like I wouldn't say like a very short track, but compared to the other pieces, it's kind of like a short-ish track. So, most of the tracks on here are quite long pieces, and it's definitely got that ECM feel to it, as I mentioned at the beginning. And as I said, it's very avant-garde, very loose, and Ollie Usiskin, who's an incredible drummer, he takes a very different approach to his drum kits. As I said, it's got more of a percussive feel to it, and he creates a lot of different sounds on his drum kit. And at times he can play really fast on this album. At times he's very slow and laid back. Max Oliver, as I said, when he's playing the electric cello, it sounds like an upright bass, and he creates a lot of different sounds on his electric cello. And certainly one of the most unique cello players I have come across in quite a while. And he creates a lot of soundscapes on his electric cello, and it's very atmospheric, and as I said, at times very wild, very laid back. It's a lot going on this album, so it's a very different kinds of listening experience, so you have to really sit down and take it all in. So the standout tracks for me are Changes of Direction, Leading Up to, Build Up, and Disagree to Agree, and The Reaction of Two. You really have to listen to the whole album in its entirety to really get the full appreciation of what this album is all about. And it really shows two guys at the top of their game, really pushing the envelope and really taking this unique duo concept in all different directions. So those are the standout tracks that I mentioned, but If you can find this album, it's available on Bandcamp, or if you're lucky to catch Ollie Usiskin at any of his gigs, highly recommend you get it from him. It's a very good album, an album that I was very interested to listen to. I've read a lot of good things about it in various articles and jazz magazines, and it definitely didn't disappoint me. I really enjoyed this one a lot, and certainly challenged me as a listener and really pushed me to give this album a chance. And I'm really glad I did, because it turned out to be very good and a lot better than I expected, really, because I was really expecting it to be a full on noise affair, but I was pleasantly surprised at how enjoyable this music is. There's some great playing from both of these guys, and excellent album. Highly recommend you check it out. So there you have it. Usiskin Oliver Duo. Fantastic album, and one of many hidden gems from 2022. So if you're able to find this album, highly recommend you check it out. It's really, really good. So that's going to be it from me. I'm going to wrap this up now. What's your favourite track from the Usiskin Oliver Duo album? Is it Changes of Direction, The Reaction, Stretch, Leading Up to, Stormburst, Build Up, Disagree to Agree, Swing Push, or Irritation? Or do you enjoy the entire album? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below. And I will see all of you next time for another edition of the Jazz Albums Review Series. So until then, take care, everybody, and stay safe. And once again, as always, much appreciated.